Welcome to Mini Seasons of Motherhood. This week is extra special because my son is home from college and we're going to be answering some questions that some of you had on social media that we asked. If you have questions for a college student, so he's going to be answering those questions today. Last year when Tyler moved away to college, I had no idea what to expect. I searched the internet for ideas of how the transition would go for him, what kind of things he was going to need in his dorm, and all of those kind of things. And I really did not know what to expect. So it was a big surprise for both of us whenever he left home. And I put out on our social media accounts last week if anybody had any questions for him while he was home, so they could help prepare their children for that big transition when the time comes. Okay, so let's get started with the questions. What was the most difficult part of being so far away from your family?
I would say probably just missing my siblings a lot. With my parents, it's a lot easier to keep in touch with them with phone calls, texting, through social media. There's a lot of options for keeping in touch with them. And I think my relationship with them has really grown. But with my siblings, sometimes I feel like I'm missing out on some of what they're growing up and things. And I sometimes don't always see that. With my sisters, it's a little bit easier just because they're older. And so we can still text and call a little bit. But with my little brothers, there's so much that happens in between each time, which in a way is good. It's a lot of fun getting to see them when I come back, but it is still kind of hard, like not seeing them. And then all of a sudden they can, say all these words and they do all these new things. And so that's probably the hardest thing, is just missing out on what my siblings are doing. Growing up homeschooled, I developed really close relationships with my siblings and I love them very much. And so sometimes that can be hard, just feeling like I'm missing out.
So this kind of goes with that. What was the hardest adjustment and how did you handle it?
Let me think. I'd say one of the hardest adjustments is just sometimes coming back to an empty dorm room. I love getting to, be with my family, and that was something that I really loved. I was always with them and really appreciate that. And so I had to really get used to being alone sometimes, and I used to hate it. I used to not like being alone at all, and I couldn't handle like being home alone or anything because I just felt so lonely and scared. I don't know. And so I really miss them at times, getting back to my dorm room and it being empty. But as the semesters both passed, I really started to appreciate that a little bit, like that alone time, just time to kind of be quiet. And at college, you're constantly surrounded by people. And so sometimes going back to an empty dorm room is actually a good feeling. And so that's been an adjustment because it was definitely hard at first, but over time it's been something that I've grown to appreciate and be, I guess, a little bit more used to.
Is there anything you wish you would have learned before leaving home?
I think one of the biggest ones, and we've talked about this some, is in college, every class has you write. You do a ton of writing. And I wish that was something that I practiced a little bit more at school, is just writing a good paper. I think that if you can write well in college, you will do very well. And so I would say that that's one of the biggest things, is learning to be a good writer. I know several people, good friends of mine, who are very good at writing, and they're very successful in school because they can write a good paper in a short amount of time, and it looks great, well thought out, follows a good, outline. They really know what they're doing. And so that's something that I wish that I would have known. I'm getting better at it. It's definitely there's a learning curve to it though. And so that would be one thing I'd really encourage people before going to college. Just practice writing as much as you can.
Okay. Very good. So what do you love most about being away from home, and what do you miss the most?
I think that the freedom is pretty fun. Sometimes I think it's just nice knowing that like there's no one really counting on you. When you're at home, there's people that, they need you to be back at a certain time. They need you to do this for them. And so sometimes that's kind of nice. And I love my family. I'm a very family-oriented person. But it is something new to me at college that I do enjoy. It's fun sometimes going out and walking to Taco Bell with some friends and then getting back, and just hanging out. Sometimes that's kind of fun. It's new freedoms that are allowed through it. And then the thing I miss the most is honestly just my mom's cooking. It's the best. It's so hard. That's been, the cafeteria food is good. I really actually really enjoy what my college provides for us, but my mom definitely has way better cooking. And that's probably one of the things I miss the most, to be honest. I miss home cooking. And so I love getting back home and having that. It's awesome.
Okay. Do you think you picked a good college?
Yeah, I do. I really love my college. And I mean, I can't really take the credit for picking it. I really believe that that's the place that God wants me to be. And I've learned a lot there. I really, really appreciate the staff. The faculty's amazing. The teachers that they have, the professors, wonderful people. They're so invested in their students. And I have personal relationships with them. I can go talk to them about anything. And so I absolutely love my college. I love what I learned, and I love just all the relationships that I've developed there. The people who attend the school are really, really good people. And I'm really thankful that God's put me there. And so, I like to say that I was the one who picked it, but I really think that's where God picked for me. And so I really love being at my school.
Awesome. How difficult was the transition to living away from home? And do you have any tips for making it easier?
How difficult was it to live away from home? It's hard. And I think that different personality types might be able to adjust to it a little bit better. For me, it's kind of tough. Again, I've said it, recently, but I'm a very family-oriented person, and so it's hard sometimes not being around my family. And so that's really difficult. And I think different personality types might do better, depending on who you are. But as far as making it easier goes, utilize video calls, for sure. That is so nice, getting to see your family face to face and talk with them. That always helps. I love getting the care packages that you send. That also helps, kind of like a little piece of home that I get to open up. So yeah, things like that I think help. Just staying connected. You really got to put in a lot of effort when you're that far away. And so, putting in that effort to make calls, to text, to video chat you guys really helps things. So I would definitely say that that's the biggest thing to help you adjust, is just stay connected, keep in touch.
Yeah.
And I think that is very important and necessary to be able to adjust to being at college.
And you made lots of great friends too, that have kind of become your family.
Yeah,
away
that's
from home.
that's another good one too. Yeah, I've developed really close relationships with people there, and college is awesome for that. Everyone says that you'll make the best friends of your life, and that's very true. I've made very close relationships there, and all those people know me very well, even though I've known them for about a year. When you see someone literally every day, you really grow close to those people. And so, yeah, that's tremendous and very impactful, is what those friends can do for you in that adjustment process.
So was it hard getting used to having a roommate?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. So my first roommate, him and I, we got along. We did. We were good friends and stuff. But there was definitely some things that we had some issues with, and definitely different personality types. Again, talking about personality types, there's definitely a difference there. So that was a difficult thing to get used to. Also, your roommate might have friends that aren't your friends, and so they just come and hang out in your room, and you're just like, I don't know who these people are. And yeah, you're trying to do something, and then all of a sudden, your roommate's got his friends in the room, and so that's definitely a difficult thing sometimes. And then sometimes your roommate might be playing music that you just don't like, and it's like, oh, there's nothing really I can do about this. So I think, as far as living with a roommate goes, speak up. If there's something that is not jiving with you very well, I think that it's good just to be honest with them and to talk about it. Don't be rude or approach them in a rude way. But I would say, learning it helps you learn communication skills and learn how to really approach someone about something that's bothering you. So I'd say that is my advice for, living with a roommate. And that's what I had to do. My old roommate just had to talk about things. So, one time I asked him just to sit down and talk about some of the issues that I had. And I think that works really well, and currently rooming with my best friend, which is awesome. We don't have a lot of problems, but there's still things that'll come up occasionally, and so we talk about it. And I think that it's a really good thing. Living with a roommate is a lot of fun, especially when you're really good friends with them. So
Where do you go for quiet time?
There's a spot on campus that I really like. It's usually where I go to pray, if I need a time away. And it's, my school is kind of built on like this awesome hill. And you can look out and there's a valley and there's a lake down below and like trees and stuff. And there's a little lookout where people go and look and see everything. But near that is another little lookout that you have to kind of climb a little bit to. And it's like a gravel pad that they made. And there's a building above it, so it's like a little cave. And I love going in there and, looking out, and you can see the whole view. It looks absolutely amazing, especially during sunset or a sunrise. So if I have time, I love going over there for my quiet time. That's mostly for prayer. If I need quiet time, otherwise, I usually will go just for a walk around campus, if I need to get away. If I'm making a phone call, sometimes I'll just walk around. That's usually where you have to go for quiet time. There's always people around, and so finding a place that you can kind of call your own in a way is a really good idea. I'd really encourage that for college students.
Tell me about the time, one place you like to study that's kind of different.
Oh, yeah. Well, in one of our buildings, or several of our buildings have an elevator, but one of our newer buildings has a little elevator, and so one time I went ahead and just did my assigned reading in there. It was really isolated place, and then if someone called the elevator, then I could just stand up and not look completely weird, sitting in the elevator reading. Yeah, I've only done that a couple times, but I enjoyed it actually, and also in that same building, in the stairwell actually, at the top landing on the stairwell, they have a little table and chair. It's kind of random, but it's right next to a window, but I also studied there sometimes too, and it's kind of nice, again, any quiet place you can find, it's helpful, and it's good to get away sometimes. So,
this is our last question.
Okay.
Do you still feel you made the right career choice after studying a year?
Absolutely. I have had numerous people, advisors, professors, mentors of mine who have just reinforced that, and God has reinforced that calling in my life. I feel called to pastoral ministry, and it's been nothing but reinforced. I've had so much encouragement, and I've really developed a deeper passion for that calling and a deeper understanding of what it entails. And so I absolutely feel like I made the right decision, and to follow that calling. It's God's calling on my life. It's not really my decision, but I have decided to follow Him and follow that calling.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, son, for being willing to answer all these questions. And I just love seeing the man that you're becoming, and thankful to have you home for a few days.